On January 29, 1954, in the small rural town of Kosciuszko, Mississippi, a little girl named Oprah Gail Winfrey was born. Her arrival was unremarkable to the world, yet in time, it would prove monumental. At that moment, she was simply another child born into poverty, to a teenage single mother who worked as a maid. Her clothes were so poor that sometimes her grandmother, who raised her for the first years, dressed her in rags sewn from potato sacks. The other children laughed at her, but even then, even before she knew what her name would come to mean, Oprah possessed something intangible, a spirit, a curiosity, and a hunger that poverty could not crush. She listened, she observed, and above all, she dreamed. The house she grew up in had no running water, no electricity, no security. Life was a daily battle for survival, yet the young girl learned early on that hardship could be a teacher. She learned the value of resilience, of noticing the small things, of finding joy in a hymn sung at church, or in the voice of her grandmother telling Bible stories by candlelight. Her beginnings were not just poor, they were marked by hardship at every corner, and yet, within her, a seed of greatness had already been planted. But life's cruelty did not stop at poverty. As a child, Oprah was subjected to abuse that no one should endure. At just 9 years old, she was sexually abused by a relative. The violation of trust, the shattering of innocence, left scars deeper than any wound to the body. She carried that pain silently for years, and when she finally fled her unstable home at 14, the world only seemed harsher. She became pregnant. The baby was born prematurely and died soon after. It was a devastating moment, one that could have ended her story before it even began. Most people would have been crushed. Many would never recover. But Oprah refused to let this tragedy be the period at the end of her sentence. Instead, she chose to make it the comma, the pause, before the next chapter. Later in her life, she would tell audiences all over the world, "Turn your wounds into wisdom." And she lived by those words. The very pain meant to destroy her became the fuel for her empathy, her ability to listen, her gift for understanding. She knew suffering intimately, and because she knew it, she could recognize it in others and help them rise beyond it. It was not just survival, it was a transformation. The wounds became the foundation of her voice. When Oprah was sent to live with her father, Vernon Winfrey, in Nashville, her life began to take a different turn. Vernon was strict, demanding discipline and excellence. For the first time, Oprah experienced structure, and she found salvation in books. She devoured everything she could read: poetry, novels, speeches, the Bible. Words became her escape hatch from poverty. Through books, she discovered worlds far beyond the walls of her small home. She discovered voices: Maya Angelou, Ralph Waldo Emerson, great thinkers who whispered to her, "You are more than your circumstances." It wasn't long before she realized she had a gift for speaking. At church, she would recite scripture with such passion that the congregation fell silent. People said she preached better than the pastor. Words became her power. She didn't have money, she didn't have status, but she had a voice. And in that voice, she discovered freedom. At 19, Oprah broke into television, a rare accomplishment for a young black woman at the time. She became a co-anchor for a news station in Baltimore. But what should have been her dream job soon turned into heartbreak. She was awkward, emotional, too raw for the polished world of news, and so she was fired. Her bosses told her she wasn't fit for television. They dismissed her tears as weakness, her warmth as unprofessional. It was a crushing rejection, but instead of burying her spirit, it unearthed a new truth. Her authenticity was her gift. Unlike other anchors who hid behind a mask of neutrality, Oprah allowed herself to feel. If a guest wept, she wept too. If someone laughed, she laughed fully. She dared to be human on camera. The audience noticed. They didn't just watch her, they felt her. They recognized themselves in her. And that connection, born from honesty, became the cornerstone of everything she would build. In 1984, Oprah was offered a chance that would change her life forever, to host a struggling morning talk show in Chicago called Am Chicago. The program was nearly dead, buried in low ratings and destined for cancellation. But within months of Oprah stepping on set, the impossible happened. The ratings exploded. Why? Because she wasn't like anyone else on television. She wasn't rehearsed to the point of stiffness. She wasn't detached or clinical. She was real. She listened. She cried when her guests cried. She celebrated when they triumphed. She dared to show her humanity on live television. Viewers felt it. They saw not a host, but a friend, someone who understood them, someone who was them. By 1986, AM Chicago was renamed The Oprah Winfrey Show, and history was made. The show quickly became the highest-rated talk show in American TV history, lasting for 25 years. For an hour each day, millions of people across America and eventually the world gathered in their living rooms to listen, to laugh, to weep, to heal. But Oprah's show was not just about entertainment. It became a cultural force. She tackled subjects others avoided: child abuse, racism, addiction, spirituality, forgiveness. She opened space for ordinary people to tell extraordinary stories. She gave a microphone to the voiceless. Oprah became more than a host. She became a bridge between pain and healing, between isolation and community. Oprah could have remained just a talk show host, but she had a vision far greater. She founded Harpo Productions, Oprah spelled backwards, turning herself from employee into owner. For the first time, a black woman in television was calling the shots behind the camera as well as in front of it. With Harpo, Oprah produced films such as The Color Purple, for which she earned an Academy Award nomination, and Beloved. She launched the Oprah magazine, which became a best-selling publication. She invested in publishing, in education, in philanthropy. When she launched her Oprah's Book Club, sales for chosen books skyrocketed overnight. Unknown authors became bestsellers because Oprah believed in them. Her influence stretched across literature, film, fashion, health, and beyond. And then came the boldest move yet, the Oprah Winfrey Network, OWN. She wasn't content with just one show. She wanted an entire platform where voices of inspiration could be heard. Financially, Oprah soared. She became the first black female billionaire in the United States. But her true wealth was in the lives she touched. She donated hundreds of millions to education, including the founding of the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa. Her empire was not built on exploiting others, it was built on elevating them, and that made her success revolutionary. Today, Oprah Winfrey is not just a name. She is a symbol, a living embodiment of resilience, authenticity, and transformation. From potato sack dresses to billionaire boardrooms, from silence to the most powerful voice in media, Oprah's journey is proof that your past does not define your future. Her philosophy can be captured in a few timeless lessons. Turn your wounds into wisdom. The pain you survive can become the gift you share. Authenticity is power. When you show up as yourself, unmasked, you invite others to do the same. Success follows significance. Don't chase money, chase meaning. The money will come. Gratitude transforms everything. Oprah popularized the idea of the gratitude journal, reminding millions that joy begins with acknowledging what you already have. Service is the highest calling. True success is measured by how much of yourself you give to others. Her impact is felt not only in the billions she has inspired, but also in the culture she reshaped. She opened conversations about trauma, spirituality, race, and forgiveness that once lived in the shadows. She showed that television could heal, not just entertain. Oprah's legacy is not only her empire, it is the countless people who now believe in their own worth because she believed in hers. She is living proof that no beginning, no matter how dark, can prevent a life from becoming a beacon of light. And her story leaves us with one unshakable truth. The biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams. The final note. Oprah's life is not just a story, it is a mirror that forces us to ask, what will you do with your own pain? Will you let it define you? Or will you transform it into power, as Oprah did? She reminds us that the road from poverty to greatness is not reserved for the chosen few. It is carved, step by step, by those who dare to believe that their voice matters. If Oprah could rise from a wooden shack in Mississippi to become the voice of millions, then what might be possible for you? This is not just her journey, it could be yours. If this story moved you, if it sparked even the smallest fire of hope inside you, then don't let it fade. Subscribe now to receive more real, raw, and deeply inspirational life stories of men and women who turned struggle into strength and dreams into destiny. Because sometimes, one story is all it takes to change the course of a life.